Welcome to Hypnotic Talk with Miri and Neota, where we discuss all things hypnosis. Our individual practices have evolved into different specialties over the years, but we have remained connected through our mutual love of hypnotic healing. So we meet here and we discuss and share our knowledge and stories from our professional practices. And so this week, again, we are continuing our talks about anxiety, all things anxiety, and most importantly, how hypnotherapy can help with anxiety.
So we made a list actually to start it off with how we can perceive anxiety differently and how we can change the state of mind and live a fuller, happier, more relaxed life.
Like it really takes the blockages out that prevent us from really just living with a confidence and an ease in our day-to-day life. Anxiety can be, it's an imaginary state with debilitating consequences.
And this is our first item on the list, right? Because sometimes anxiety starts because of imaginative reaction. And so if we practice our imagination in a powerful way, meaning we involve emotions and different states of our senses in the imagination process, or visualization process, then our mind does not differentiate between reality and imagination. And so it perceives that if we did it, we're already familiar with it. And if we're familiar with it, this is a state we can live, meaning we can be relaxed, we can be calm, we can be free of anxiety.
Yeah, because anxiety is very often a genuine reaction to an imaginary situation. Like we will start overthinking. Anxiety is can be overthinking and creating blown up scenarios that, whether they're valid or not, sometimes it's something that is an actual possibility that could go wrong or has happened in the past. And sometimes we can make them very fantastic, like it's not even in the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
And that just proves the thing is that anxiety will run away from your imagination. And the next thing you know, your physical body is shutting down. There's panic attacks. There are, your panic is attacking you.
Yeah.
And it comes from your imagination, but it's a genuine physical activation.
Yeah, and so once you can visualize in a productive way what you want to be instead of what you're feeling currently, then you are actually creating new neural pathways.
Yes, it starts to create that channel. Instead of the chaos and the terror, it starts to create a channel of the same thought processes, but reprogrammed to be empowering or calming or soothing. So tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, it reminds me, it's not mine, I just heard it, but I can't remember who said it, but it's like, hiking in the woods. And sometimes there is a path that you're walking through or going on the path, but sometimes you want to go in the woods and you need to create your own pathway.
That's
and
right.
The first times, the first few times you walk in the new pathways might be more consuming. You might lift your feet higher than before because it's not yet a path.
Right.
But the more you do it, the more you walk that way,
you're trailblazing it.
Yeah, the easier it becomes, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. It just, practice. And luckily, and with hypnosis, we can practice easily and very comfortably in our own chair. You don't need to do it, or you can, of course, do it in your real life, but by doing it in the chair, in the hypnosis chair, you can have a very powerful outcome.
Yeah, and it's like a life hack, right? To do it in hypnosis is to do all the work in the comfort of a safe office, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a hack.
Exactly.
It's a simplified way.
Yeah, and once it happens in real life, all you need to do is to remind yourself of the new path that you are creating yourself and go that way. So this is something that I really like. And it also, the next one is helping us, the people who experience anxiety. And as I said before, I experience very I don't know if it was extreme, but for me it was extreme states of anxiety. And it helps me to see through hypnosis, I can see different opportunities and possibilities. I can perceive the anxiety for what it is, rather than the emotions that are emerging.
Right. So you're able to rationalize with it in a state of experiencing it, so that there's a almost like a teeter-totter, like you're like, oh, here's the emotion, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be that way. And you're taking control of it in that state of hypnosis, which is it's not like you go anywhere, you're present the whole time. So those things are engaged together, the emotional response and the mental ability to be like, oh, I don't need this. So it's so empowering to address it that way.
And for me, it's like being the responsible adult, right? As you know, if you are in the situation, you don't know what's happening. You're so consumed. But if you can put yourself aside, and this is another thing we have on the list, the dissociation. If you can dissociate from the situation, you can be the responsible adult who can see the situation for what it is and can say, okay, there is nothing we can do about it. It's better just to let it go.
This response isn't necessary in this situation. You can responsibly make that decision. It doesn't run away on you. You're able to create that decision making, applying the logic to the emotion in a state of hypnosis, and then it's happened. You've blazed that trail.
Absolutely.
And then the next time you make the groove a little bit, you trample down the stuff a little bit more so that the trail is more recognizable. And then you're like, oh, I know this way.
And to be like, as you can dissociate yourself in hypnosis, it allows you to see things from a distance and to see also what happens, to not to have like a tunnel view, but to expand everything and to see also what you didn't notice until now. And for example, if at times you thought you're helpless, you can see the powers that you actually had and maybe helped you to get through it.
Yeah, like sometimes when I'm in a situation with a lot of activated emotion or activity, like if I'm in a heightened state, it's almost like there's wind rushing past me and I just can't get my bearing, and to disassociate from it in a hypnotic state is the ability to just slow everything down and reassess it, not in the like immediate moment, but in a controlled way. So it gives you that ability to disassociate and reason with emotion, which is not something that is really possible in day-to-day life. You can't reason with emotion.
Yeah. So I think this is very powerful, the ability to dissociate. Also, with hypnosis, you can quiet your mind. And I'm going back to what we talked about last time, where I first went to see a hypnotherapist before I became one. He made me not made me, but he confused me in a way that I wasn't focusing on the anxious state anymore, and I was able to just quiet my mind. It's like, turning the volume
Yes.
dial to almost a minimum. This is how I felt.
Yes.
And I get feedback from my clients that this is what they get when they are in hypnotic state. They can just relax.
Yeah. It's like everything comes a little bit slower. I remember one of my earliest anxiety clients, and she was such a young girl and so adorable. I just was really, really, I love all my clients. But but when we finished the session, and she was so young, and she had suffered from anxiety like yourself. She didn't ever really remember a life without anxiety. And when we were done the session, she said, I didn't know I could feel that way. And it just
I think, these the reactions that I get as well, because not only me and not only your client and the other clients that we have, people with anxiety don't see the possibility that they can be free of this state.
Yeah. It's just their natural state. It's like the path through the forest is so trampled down, there is no other place.
Yeah, and everything is a trigger.
Right.
Like, you go out, it's a trigger. You meet people, it's a trigger. You need to order a coffee to go, it's a trigger. So everything becomes a trigger. And then again, hypnosis is so good in neutralizing those triggers and rehearse them, so we feel as if we did it before. So the next time you go to a coffee shop, it's easy to just order a coffee it's just ordering a coffee and feel that way. And I'm not reducing the feeling of, oh my God, I need to order a coffee. Not at all, because I was there.
No.
I know how it feels, but I know you can feel different as well.
I love that. I know that you can feel different. Yes, because you've experienced it. Because you went from, I'm sorry, I just love that from that movie. My panic is attacking me.
Yeah, exactly. I went from all the way here to, I don't know, to somewhere that is very manageable. I think the last time I had the beginning of almost panic attack is after elections in another country, where I thought the end of the world is coming. And, I just sensed it's coming up, and I was able to manage it. I was able to, even to fall asleep that night and sleep very well through the night. Whereas before, it wasn't like this. I wasn't able to, I knew something is coming. I knew it's going to be another panic attack. I knew it's like, I'm not going to sleep through the night. Whereas after that, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, when I felt like, okay, I know it's coming, but I can breathe through it. I have other tools I can use. I can see the situation in a different way. So really, I used so many tools at that moment, but I never experienced the panic attack that I used to have. And the bonus thing is that I slept through the night. I fell asleep like pretty quickly.
Yes. So I love that, because that's a good point, Miri. Anxiety isn't an on-off switch. It's not like our quitting smoking clients, right? Who they smoke and then they don't smoke anymore. This is anxiety is different. It has different triggers. It has unknown triggers, but it's the same familiarity with, oh, I know what is coming. Wait a minute. Now I remember that I have a different path out of it. I'm not committed to having this next anxiety attack. I'm not committed to living in panic or not sleeping tonight, because I have options now. I can disassociate that response. I can disassociate from the situation and manage my response. How empowering.
And I think it's like, thanks to hypnosis, to gain this awareness that you can pause for a second, and then out of this pause comes a choice. What do you want to do next? But just to identify this pause and identify the choice that is coming from this pause, and to do what you want to do and what will be most helpful for you. I think this is really empowering, as you said, and like it's seriously, it's different quality of life.
Different quality of life. And to recognize the situation wasn't any different had you had a full-on panic attack or didn't respond to it at all. The situation was happening one way or the other. So all it was doing was robbing you of sleep and sending cortisol through your system and, you know, creating all of that unhealthy. So yeah, it doesn't have any effect on the situation except for what it does to you. So that is taking control, like the responsible adult, like you said.
Yeah. And so I think just by that, hypnosis is such a powerful tool to help you change life. You know, should you experience anxiety states or even panic attacks.
Yes. And to change your life by changing your subconscious mind, your emotional response, and doing it from the comfort of a secure and safe office. So, or like globally, we see people online. So it's like this, like we're seeing people, you know, and they're in their own home. Like they don't have to leave their living room or their bedroom. They could just cuddle up and be in a safe place and make all those changes, those life changes.
Absolutely. And you know, if you already touched the, you know, the online sessions, what I see with my clients is that they get the same results whether they are in the office or on Zoom. And we talked about it, and you have the same it's not even a sense, the same feedback that we get from our client. They have the same results. So just to, you know, to be the party pooper, hypnosis is not for everyone, but for those who use hypnosis successfully, and they are the majority of at least whoever I work with, it's life changers, and you can experience it from the comfort of your house, your home, your apartment, wherever you stay, and you can test it into the future.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy the results anywhere you are in the world.
Anywhere, yes, anywhere at all. It's wonderful. Yeah, I always tell people the results are exactly the same. It's just the experience is different. It's the same as going to an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting, or, you know, visiting with family and friends over a video call as opposed to in the room. So the experience or the results are the same. You get the same results. You just can't hug at the end if that's who you are.
I just want to bring a story, or to tell a story. I worked with someone who is not in Canada. The person is in Europe, and since the war in Ukraine, they experienced such a high level of anxiety, and of course they cannot change anything, and but they see the situation as if it's threatening their world, which is true.
Right.
You know, but they take it to a place where they cannot function.
Yeah.
So first of all, we did all the sessions over Zoom. But what now they can see is that they have different tools to deal with the emotion. You know, the world in Ukraine won't stop or pause or end because of their response.
Right.
But their ability to perceive what's going on with them and their ability to change their state is now their own power, right? They can do it.
Yeah.
Should they choose to.
Yes.
And so I think this is very powerful because our world is going through many changes now. And
there are so many situations that are frightening, straight up frightening. but our responses, other than, proactive behaviors, but our emotional response, or being controlled by the negative feelings of it, doesn't change the aspect, doesn't change the reality.
Yeah. I mean, it changed how we perceive the reality.
Yes. Yes.
But I think you too, Neota, we see many more clients who come because anxiety, and it manifests in many ways. So for someone, it manifests in pain, physical pain.
Yeah.
For another person, it can be they can't sleep. Another person, it will be like panic attacks.
And other people experience things like lack of motivation, or lack of energy, and all of those. Those things are also anxiety responses.
Infertility.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anxieties, we see it, you and I, and I'm talking on behalf of you because we talked about it. It's like we see so many clients now who come because of anxiety, and then the sleep, for example, is just a manifestation of anxiety. It's the symptom of the real issue. The physical pain is a symptom of their anxiety. And of course, if someone has physical pain, to tell them it's all in your mind, it doesn't really help.
No, that's not helpful.
Yeah, and we never do that. And we would like to see a diagnosis before, or at least to have them talk to their doctor. But
we can't work with people with pain, because pain is a signal. It's telling you something, and your doctor has to address it.
But what we see is that once we address the anxiety, once we create more harmonious mind-body connection, then the pain is subsides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. That's a really good for you to remember to say that, because it's so common. The human body is a closed system. So our physical body can affect our emotions. Like if you are dealing with an injury or an accident or something, there's an emotional component that it can be driven from, your physical state. But your physical state is also represented through the emotions that it's managing. The human body is closed. And so all of those things are tied together. Every pain has an emotional component.
Yep.
That's where we can.
Yeah. Yes. And I love it. I love to see the changes that once people choose to live differently, choose to live better, freer life, they can do it. They can do it. And it takes only a few sessions to gain this freedom.
It's true. It's true. And I mean, there's positive benefits from each session, right? It isn't like you go, and then it's done. It's like each session has its own steps, creating those neurological pathways, and then making them bigger and more available.
And it's beautiful to see how everything comes together, and how everyone can tap into their own resources, inner resources, and change the way they feel.
Yeah.
For better or worse. But for us, it's for the best, right?
It's always for better when they come to us.
Yeah. So we'll keep talking about anxiety.
Yes. There's so much to address.
So thank you for staying with us. And if you have any questions about anxiety, and maybe how hypnosis can help you deal and manage anxiety, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Any hypnotic questions, please let us know. Please also subscribe if it was of any interest to you, or if it tickled your imagination and you want to hear more. And until next time, bye-bye.